Hello, I'm Toby Rutter, and this is the fourth instalment of my Scratch weekly reflection videos. Week 4, to be quite honest, has been probably the most challenging week of the project, if not the course so far. We were told this week, having thought that we were set in stone with what we were making, and with our piece, and even the script that we'd written for the piece, we were told that a lot of things weren't working and that we needed to change almost the whole piece, which at first, being told that is very daunting and very frustrating, but having put it into perspective is a good thing. I would much rather be told now about things that aren't working than wait until show day and find out that the piece isn't great. So in a lot of ways, or in most ways, I'm really glad that we have been told what's not working and things that we need to change. It's just, like I said, at first it was very daunting and very frustrating, and we knew that we had a lot to think about. And it was even more frustrating because sort of halfway through the day, we felt that we were in a really good place. We had a script, we had the whole storyline of the piece. We thought that we were set and ready to just start blocking and start rehearsing. But no, again, I'm glad that we've been told now, as I'd rather change what's not working and have a better piece. So we started off week 4 project day with, I think we were in the dance studio, and we ended up staying there all day, and we were just really thinking about the piece that we wanted to make, how we wanted it to look, and what we wanted to include. So this sort of week 4 was the first week where we were able to properly immerse ourselves into the creative process. And we knew that we had the freedom to go off and now create what we'd been workshopping for the last few weeks. So yeah, we started off, we'd written a script over the weekend based on what we had discussed in week 3, based on the themes that we wanted to explore, and based on the techniques and what's the word I'm looking for? Techniques and sort of practitioners' techniques that we wanted to include. So I had been allocated the job of writing the script, and I'd gone off and I'd taken everything that we'd discussed and I'd put it into this script, and we were going to go through it and edit any bits that other group members didn't like or wanted to change during the week, which is exactly what we did. And with this script, we then started blocking. Now, we personally felt that the piece was working really well. The piece at this point was about a sort of recovering alcoholic, poor piano player who sold his soul to the devil in return for wealth and fame. But the one catch is that he can't ever touch the piano again. But the sort of whole dilemma of the piece is that Jan, who is our main character, his one true love in the world is playing the piano, and he can't ever do it again. And that's the catch of selling his soul. So we thought we had a really solid piece. We started to block it. And then we got to the afternoon and we were told that there were a number of things, as I said, that just weren't working. A number of things that just weren't working, and that we had to scrap a lot of things and change a lot of things. First of all, we had to cut the piece down. Even though our time limit for the piece was 8 minutes, and we had timed the piece at around about 8 minutes, we were told that we had to cut down to about 4.5 minutes, which at first seemed a little bit unfair, but we then realised that actually, if we aim for 4.5 minutes, it's going to end up being about 6 minutes, which by the time we've got tech added and props and set, is going to end up being about 7 minutes, which is about perfect. So that was the first thing we were told. We were then told that a number of things didn't sort of fit the piece, and we had to scrap those. One of those things was, at the start of the piece, there was going to be a whole scene in the church of a sort of vicar's sermon, followed by a whole confession scene in the confession box. And we were told it just didn't work. It was too long and we didn't need it. So it was things like that we just needed to scrap and rethink. And as I said earlier, at first it was frustrating, it was daunting, but now that we've done that, the piece does actually feel a lot more solid, and it feels a lot more clear, the message that we're trying to get across and what we're trying to communicate. I think the piece of feedback that has helped our group the most is that we need to align the tone of the piece throughout the whole thing. Because I think at first, where we were trying to include so many techniques to give the piece so many different layers and textures, I think there were a lot of different tones throughout the piece, and that would change, almost by the minute. But since we've been told to try and align the tone throughout the piece, that has been really helpful. First of all, we've changed the music that we use in our piece to all piano music, which works on a number of ways. Number one, because it, like I said, aligns the tone throughout the piece. And number two, because obviously our whole piece evolves around the piano. So, on a sort of artistically pleasing level, that works as well.